Welcome back, baby. Richard Milhouse Nixon is back again and ready to take charge. What we have here is the buffoon-in-chief instructor had copied files into all your directories and forgot to give you ownership of them. Okay? That's not one's most professional demonstration of system admin fool, but we're going to fix that. Okay, so perhaps we should call this section of the course CYA 121, where CYA stands for cover your appendages, whatever, so here we're going to write a script to fix the glaring buffoonery that was visited upon you shortly ago. Now, the window I have open is the root user on Claude Shannon 01. By the way, this fellow Claude Shannon, I think I said something about him before. Very interesting character, really sharp, and many others. Claude Shannon didn't accomplish all the things they say he did alone. He collaborated with others, and ideas were supplied by others, as is almost always the case. But if you are interested in information in any way and the transport thereof, Claude Shannon is going to be a central figure in your studies toward that end. In the meantime, let's see what we can do here. I'm in the root. I've signed in as a root user, and I'm in the directory /root. Now, let me just say again, as I believe I've said before, / is called the root directory of the entire Linux file system hierarchy. /root is the root user's home directory or login directory. Okay, / is the root directory of the entire Linux file system hierarchy. /root is the root user's login directory or home directory. Okay. So, given that, let's look at what kind of files we have here. I've got a whole bunch of things here, but the file that we're interested in is CSI 121-01 under studentdata.dat. And what we're going to do is we're going to read in a script. Now, this is going to be kind of advanced scripting, and so if you're not interested in this, I don't want to force it on you, but here you're going to see some actual system administration scripting done, and so even if you don't understand it all, hopefully I can describe what I'm doing. If we look at this file, and I will cat out this file, or we'll use less or something, I don't know. Less, come on, I typed the 2 S's. There we go. Less CSI 121 CSI-121-01 underscore student data dot dat. Okay, this is what's called a comma separated value file, CSV. You can get these from spreadsheets, or programs can make them, and spreadsheets seem to know that this comma is a delimiter or separating character, if you will. And here I'm exposing every student's student ID, and I'm sorry about that. Shouldn't do that, especially on a recording, huh? Well, let's just, what you'll see here is there's a student name, Then there's the username for the student, which is the same as the first part of your HCC email address. Then the student number, and we'll quit out of there. So we really want that second field out of there. And I have some scripts that are meant to kind of rip that stuff out. So I'm going to take a look at one of those. We'll use Nano because people are more familiar with it. And well, let's look at this script with the 00 in it. Okay, so this looks kind of complicated. We start off with our shebang and our /bin/bash, and oh, we have a variable here, all capitals, line num equals 0. I don't know if we need that. And you see this while read line, okay, while you can read a line of text into another variable called line. This creates a variable called line. Do all this indented stuff, and the indenting, it doesn't matter, it's here for legibility. Do all the stuff between do and done, and here's an input redirection, and take it from our file CSI 121-01 under student data.dat. Let me say it over. We're going to run a section of code, okay? We are going to take this thing. We're going to read this file, CSI 121-01 under student data.dat. This is input redirection. It's going to go into this section of code here that is while read line do done. All this stuff's going to get executed. And we're going to simplify it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little editing up in the comments here. And we're going to call this oh, I don't know. We'll just call it fix up 000. Okay, like, you know, CSI 121-01 under fix up under 40s.sh. And so the first thing we'll do after changing the name in the comments is we will save this. I'll do a Control-O, but we're not going to save it to the file name it was. Since we're modifying it, we're giving it a new file name. And down here in this line, I'm going to put in fix up under 0000.sh. I hit enter and say save under a different name, save file under a different name, and I'm going to say capital Y for yes, it did it. Now we're going to get rid of a couple things. All right, first thing is this line num. We don't need it, so I'm going to use Control K to cut that out. And echo line number, I don't need that. And all I care about is the second field in each line. So I'm going to get rid of field 1 and field 3, and I'll explain what that does. And for our very first attempt, we will do some very simple things here. While read line do these two commands here, and then done, and we're going to read lines from the file CSI 121-01 under student data.dat, and then we're going to do this mess here. Line is a variable. It contains the line we read in, and so stay with me here because this is a bunch of stuff we're doing. Okay. So you see the dollar left paren and then the right paren over here. Basically that says execute this command line in here, and the dollar left paren, right paren is going to capture this command line. All right, it's going to capture the output of that command line. It's not going to go to standard out, std out. It's going to go instead into a variable that we're calling field2, FLD2. Then in the next command, we're just going to echo out with some 4 spaces. We're going to echo out FLD2, and because I have a dollar sign in front of FLD2, it's going to echo out the contents of this variable. A variable is nothing more than a named information container. And so we have a named information container called FLD2. Well, this echo command is going to give me 4 spaces. Then when it sees the dollar sign, it's going to say, oh, there's some information inside a variable called FLD2, and I'm just going to echo that out. The dollar sign tells echo to not to interpret this as literal text, but to say, oh, the dollar sign means go into this information box called FLD2, get the info, and print it out. Let's return to this command line up here that's in between the parentheses. So we know what echo dollar line would do. There's a variable called line. Dollar means please take the contents inside this variable or named information container called line. So we're going to echo out the contents of the line. And we know what that's going to be. It's going to be a person's name, a comma, their account name, a comma, and their student number. So we're going to echo out the line, and here's the pipe character. We're going to pipe the output of echo dollar line into this awk command. All right, and awk is a long-standing Unix and Linux facility or program for processing data that's in some kind of columns. So what this says is you're going to tell awk, we have an option right here, -F, comma. It says use the comma as your field separator or delimiter, and then print out the second field that you find, which should be the user account name. Okay, so we're doing 2 things. We're doing 3 things. We're reading in a line. We're basically extracting the second field in the line, and then with the echo command, we're printing that out. Okay, and we keep doing that until we can't read any more lines from the file CSI-121-01 under studentdata.dat. So let's see if this will extract the second field from each line in that student data file and print it out. Okay. So I'm going to do a Control O. I'm going to say return or enter or whatever your keyboard says. And then I'm going to do a Control X. Now, I need to look at that file I just made. What is it? Fix up. There it is. Now that's an ls. Now maybe we should do an ls-l so we can see the permissions on this file. Oh, well, you need to. We need to make this file so that it can be executed. There we go. Now let's run the file. Actually, let's clear the screen first. And then let's run the file. Sorry, meant to hit tab. There it is. And we get a list of all of the usernames. Okay, so that is working. All right, and if you don't like the 4 spaces in there, we could have gotten rid of that. But all the usernames are properly properly extracted, and we're going to need usernames because we want to go into each user's account and change that change the ownership on those files. Okay, so we're able to do this. Now let's take a look at the chown command. Okay. Oops, sorry. Man chown. I like man down. Okay. Now we can chown. There's some options. We can put in the owner in the group. We don't have to use the chgrp to change the group. We can change it in the chown command, I believe. And what's cool is that if I go down here, like many of the commands, the -R recursive operates on files and directories recursively. In other words, if I specify that I want to change /home/ some username /CSI121, I can make that recursive so it goes down through examples and to each file and changes the owner and the group. So, I think we need to modify our, we need to modify our script to perform that function for us. Okay, so what I think we'll do here is we will nano CSI -121-01_fix tab and go in here. So before we are extracting that second field and then we're printing it out, I'm going to get rid of printing that out. Okay, and what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to do a chown command. And remember, I'm the root user, so I can do this. I'm going to chown first thing I have to do is specify the user in the group. So the user is going to be field 2. So I'll say $field2 $field2 /home $field2 /CSI121, and I think we have to put our -R here. All right, so let's see what we're doing with this line. Maybe it will be a little easier for people to follow if I do something like this. Let's put an extra space in here so we can talk just about this line. Okay, so we know what chown does. It changes the owner. And the -R means it changes the owner for that if our target is a directory. It changes the owner for that directory and every file and subdirectory under that directory. When we specify the new owner as $field2 $field2, what it says is you extracted a username here, and it's held in a named information container or shell variable, and the variable in any computer language I think you could describe as a named information container. If you're in Python or Perl or Java and you have a variable, that variable is a reference to some information. And sometimes, you want to refer to the contents of that information container. So, in our case, The information container is field 2. What we want to do is construct a command, chown -R for recursive, contents of field 2, contents of field 2. That way we accomplish both a chown and a change group. And the thing that we're changing is /home/ the contents of field 2, that is that user. So if the user is F. Jones, then it's going to say change the owner recursively to Fred Jones Fred Jones, change the owner and group of the file /home/Fred Jones /CSI121, which currently is a directory. The -R means we're going to change CSI121. Underneath CSI121 is another directory called examples. That's going to be changed and given F. Jones and F. Jones as owner and group. And then every file under example is going to then be owned by F. Jones and F. Jones. All right. So if this works, I'll eat my hat. No, this should work. Let's take a look at it. I mean, what's the worst thing? We could wind up making 15 of these fix-up. We have room for 9,999 of these fix-up scripts where we explain how I fix up the thing I screwed up by running this script. So let's hope. It's our fervent hope. Our fervent hope that this fixes our problem. So I'm going to do a Control-O to write out this file. Control-X. And this thing is already executable, which I can prove by going there we go. We are executable. So let's see what happens when we run this thing. Okay, here we go. We're going to turn this loose. It's done so rapidly, huh? Now, again, I'm the root user, right? If I type who am I am root. So let's take a look and see if helpers stuff. Well, we already changed. Didn't I change helper? Yeah, I did. So let's change somebody else's. Let's pick on somebody. Let's see. Let's do an ls-l /home/ we'll go pick on Manuel's area. And now, as you notice, Manuel owns his CSI121 directory, and it's also in his group. And if I go to if I go into CSI121, he owns and has in his group examples. And let's go one step further and see if we changed all the things in examples. You see, I have the power to do this. So in this case, this owner now owns all the files he should have had the system administrator been on the ball in the first place. But if you can't be on the ball in the first place, you know, succeeding with CYA can be a great career skill. Okay, so that's true. Let's try someone else. Let's do the same thing for, let's see. We'll try Haley Brault's account, and hopefully she won't mind us going in there. And she owns and has in her group her examples. I guess I should have started up here. She owns and has in her group her CSI 121 file. You can see that she has her examples file. And if we go into examples, you can see that now this went past the screen. I should have piped this into more. Let's do that, or less, all right? So I do that same last command, and I pipe it into less. And there goes one screen's worth. I hit the space bar, another screen's worth. And we can see that hbrault 876 is now the owner, and that group also is the group for all of these files in here, which means you can now plaster and kill those files and do anything you want with them. All right, so that script is not one I would just start off with, but what we did is we read in a text file at line by line. We read in one line at a time. It went into a variable called line, and then we did a fancy command where we took line, we echoed $line and piped it into this awk command, and awk found the second column, or the second field in each line. We called it FLD2 as a variable. And then we took FLD2 and used it to do a chown command, a change owner command, to change the owner and group of each owner's files from CSI 121 down recursively. And that's something that you might do quite commonly in a well, not quite commonly, but it's something you could be called upon to do it. If you had a list of users in a file like that, it's a great way to do it. And it would, maybe a bunch of users have now become part of a different group, and you need to change their group ownership or something like that. Well, you can do that sort of thing. Now, I used awk because I am a dinosaur. There are other commands that can be used. There's one called cut. There's a number of ways to achieve pulling out the second field in a line separated by, let's say, either spaces or colons or commas or whatever the character is. There's a way to get that information. So, okay, great. With only one fix-up, we managed to make a simple shell script, and then you saw a little bit of system administration foo in order to use a shell script to fix up an omission that was done. Now, when I say it's an omission, if I were doing things as I had done them before I rebuilt the system, I would run a script just like the one I wrote to finish the job of not only populating all your user areas with the CSI 121 and examples and all that, but to give you ownership and group ownership and that sort of thing. So this is just a job that was missing, and you got to look at the sausage being made of finishing that thing. So if people are interested in seeing how I built the accounts in the first place, I could make a video of that also. Very similar. You'd be reading through that text file, and we'd be, I think I had to do it in a couple of scripts because there's something about my foo that is not sufficient for like completing the process in one script, and I don't know what my problem is there. Maybe I could do that, but I actually did it in steps. So I created the users. I created all of your user accounts, and then I think I did a second pass through to do some attributes or copy some files in or something like that. So I don't consider that a big problem. I mean, if you've got a systematic way to do what you need to do, then that's great. And believe it or not, it avoids mistakes when you have a repetitive thing. And if you do make a mistake, like in my case, it's a systematic mistake that you can undo with another script. All right, that's it on that little fix-up thing to give you a view into a script that reads files. All right. In the next one, I will perhaps recapitulate what that homework was about the cron tabs and that sort of thing, which you can get from the video of the lecture, but I'll try to make a concentrated one. And I thank and give kudos to the couple students thus far from whom I've received emails that achieved that, writing a script, putting it in their cron tab, having it execute periodically, and being able to see the results. All right, take it easy, everyone, and thanks again.